Okay. Hello, everyone. We are starting our BA Boost today, and I will be the first presenter for today, and I will share with you guys my unique experience of being business analyst in the United Kingdom. So let me introduce myself. And my name is Maria Grubelnikova, and I'm a lead business analyst at EPAM, and currently playing the role of a product owner. I have over 12 years of experience with EPAM, and I've been in different roles: business analyst, product owner, test engineer, test lead, resource manager, and all these roles span across 3 projects. My key skills are around agile, analytical skills, product development, process modeling, stakeholder requirements management, problem solving, people management, communication, and negotiation. And I acquired some certificate to support my knowledge to structure it around SAFe, Scrum, and product management and ISTQB. So let's talk about my experience, career path, how I ended up being in the UK, what experience did I have before it, and what I acquired in the United Kingdom in particular. So I will start slightly from afar just to give you a whole picture how I ended up in Western Europe and in the UK, because initially I joined EPAM as a test engineer, and at the point to 2014, being QA lead, product owner, and resource manager, I knew that I will be moving to the United Kingdom, and I needed to make a decision what to do next. So I had 2 tracks to pursue. One was around managerial activities like resource management, project management, and another was around product ownership. And as I really wanted to be more hands-on and I didn't want to go into management that much, I decided to move into business analysis, which was the closest role that I was able to choose. And for that, I put all my efforts and participated in BA mentoring for almost a year. And by 2015, I've made 2 big moves. After almost 7 years in testing, I moved into business analysis and moved to the United Kingdom. But this is only the beginning. However, by 2016, I was back into my product ownership. So just to put some break between the previous part and all the details that I will share later, I wanted to share this phrase of Bruce Lee, quote of Bruce Lee, that there are no limits. You can become anyone, you can do everything. There are only plateaus, and you must not to stay there. You must go all beyond what I was trying to do myself. So what does it mean to be BA in the UK? Particularly for me, it turned out to be 5+ years already being in the UK. I've changed not only my position, but I also changed completely stack in which I worked. So I moved from .NET and all the corresponding tool set into Java, which was quite interesting after being there for such a long time. I had, across this 5 years, I had 2 engagements, and I needed to learn 4 new domains. This was also brand new, but I will talk about domains bit later in more details. I also played various roles again. Even I was BA, business analyst by title, I played roles of functional solution designer, product owner, and even a bit technical writer. I worked across up to 3 streams simultaneously, and I was involved in both of engagements in numerous process improvements. So, bit about the United Kingdom itself. So, when I moved, I learned that this is a service economy, and main sectors that UK cater for are retail, financial sector, public sector, business administration, leisure, and culture activities. The service sector makes like 80 to 82% of GDPR, and this is the fastest growing sector in the United Kingdom. Hence, most of the projects were expected to be around the services, and to cater for the customers, especially with such level of service and such high expectation to the quality of the service, was another challenge to face. So my domains in digital footprint. So again, I will refer a bit back to my experience being in Ukraine and to my almost 7 years spent with financial services. I kept them here because it's very dear to me and because hopefully in the future I will go back there. And in the UK, there are numerous opportunities in different sub-areas of the financial sector that you can try and change and move because there is always a demand around that. So I worked before with web applications only, but with this move, I also worked with web applications. I also had some glimpse into embedded systems, but still mostly for me, it was still web application and a bit of mobile development. And then I will stop on the last bit of my domain digital footprint for a bit longer, because across 5.5 years, I learned retail, I've done a bit of real estate, and then majority of the time spent on telecommunication and e-commerce. So all the domains were extremely interesting, and my preference is always to stay a bit longer within the project because as a business analyst with a curious mind, I really want to learn domain and project well. And I would like to stay until I know all the nitty-gritty details and until I want to become subject matter expert to some extent. And while I can bring some benefits for the customer, while I can bring some benefits for the end users in this particular project, in this particular area, I would prefer to stay there and then move on and enhance my portfolio with something new. So sadly, for the retail and real estate, I didn't have that opportunity. I had 2.5 months only on that engagement, but at the same time, it presented me with a challenge that I needed not only to work effectively on new project in a bit more structured BA way, but I also need to acquire knowledge of that two projects. And I must admit that I succeeded, and I was taken off one of the tasks by the client, and they just asked me to help them to set up their processes, to work with them on how to create requirements in more agile way, how to split them right for one or another purpose, how to estimate and prioritize them in a better way, how to take into consideration team's capacity, etc., etc. So it was challenging, but at the same time, it was very interesting. And then after 2.5 months, I moved to telecommunication and e-commerce, where I'm staying until now. And for the first half a year, I was assigned as a solution designer, functional designer, and there are many, many names how business analysts can be called, or some different flavors of roles that they can play, but this is where I ended up. And again, I needed to learn new domain, I needed to learn new tool set, I needed to learn new e-commerce platform, and still be effective. So I would say due to my skill set and some intentional or unintentional desire to go far and beyond and be a bit annoying one, to uncover all the details, in half a year, I was asked to join the product team, which I successfully accepted. And from that point, I stayed as a BA, utilizing all my skills, which give me enormous opportunity and many benefits against other guys due to my business analysis knowledge and experience and skill set. So let's talk about business analysis and product owner activities. I know that here we are talking more about business analysis, but for me, as like, yes, I am a BA by title, but I'm still more on the product side. I decided to present both of them and bundle into two buckets. You can argue that like some of them are applicable for both business analyst and product owner. Some might be more applicable for one or another, but this is based on my experience, and this is how I look at it. So Let's start from business analysis. So first of all, most of the challenges, as I already mentioned, and most of the activities are around processes. And in particular from business analysis, in the UK, you can be one business analyst, there can be several business analysts, there can be different setups across client and EPAM. So I've tasked a number of times while being the only BA to establish some processes for myself, and while working with other business analysts or solution designers, how to align our processes and work effectively across ourselves, trying to come up with some effective ways to manage our backlog, to do co-creation of requirements, and so on and so forth. The next activity is stakeholder management, and I put stakeholder management more towards like business analysis due to like BA book, so try to be by the book. And my previous experience was with American client, and in the United Kingdom, there was some difference in the stakeholders management and how to approach them, how to deal with them, which in some cases was very nice, very helpful and easier. However, there was one side which was a bit quirky. So I still needed to find individual approach. I worked in new domain. They have different structure. I never worked with sales. I never worked with marketing and other departments. And I needed to understand how they're functioning, how they contribute into overall picture, what problem they have, and where do I need to get them involved into my workshops, into my requirements gathering, into any acceptance processes, reviews, sign-offs, etc., etc. Which was great, and they are extremely collaborative. They are always willing to help, and they want to contribute. However, on the other side of the scales, to desire of contribute, they have a bit of a delay in decision making. So, if to put two sides, if to put stakeholders on two sides, in the UK on one side, in the US on another side, in the UK, stakeholders are mostly thinkers. They like to think number of times. They want to see a lot of detail. They want to consider and discuss it number of times until they will make a decision. While when I worked with American clients, I had opposite story. Yes, they also needed information. They also needed some grounds to make a decision, but they were more doers. They were saying, okay, let's do it finally. And even if we will fail fast, we will be able to learn fast too. So this is what I found a bit quirky, and I needed to get used to that. And I think it took me almost 2 years to get used to this fact. So the next type of activity that I was involved here is discovery and requirements management. So as usual, needed to organize different workshops, needed to plan discovery phases, need to suggest format of the requirements. Luckily, most of the cases I was either asked which type of requirements and which format of requirements I wanted to use, or clients were already using agile templates, so it can be user stories, epics, etc. It can be more behavior-driven format or use cases. And then the next part was document all the findings, document all the desires, make sure that nothing is missed, everything is split correctly and refined to the required level with teams. So from the splitting perspective, again, working with a number of different stakeholders from different departments, there were conflicts of interest, and there were conflicts in the way how we split to make features quicker to the market to satisfy all the needs. So this was a bit of a challenge for me to work with so many different departments and cater for all of them. And last bit is modeling and design. So I participated in some workshops where I needed to visualize quite a few things for the different stakeholders to make it clear for them, because again, doesn't matter which country you're going. I think that the best way to present information is visually, and it worked here well too. So let's go to product ownership. And this is what I'm doing for the last 5 years, to a small extent in the beginning and like 100%, sometimes even over 100% now. So I continue to work with sales, marketing, customer service, legal, partners, third parties, name it, but in a different role. So now I have some ideas, I have some needs from these departments, I have needs from the end users, and I'm suggesting solutions how we want to evolve our product to satisfy needs. So I'm not looking to get in the details on them, but I'm looking into, okay, what problems we have and how do we want to solve them all together. So I, most of the time, managing my roadmaps. So I started from creating roadmap. On my first engagement, it didn't go far because, again, it was just 2.5 months, but I handed it over. And in my current engagement, I manage various roadmaps, starting from 3 months all the way to 12, 18 months. I think I never went over 2 years roadmap, but I definitely had 18 to 20 months roadmap, which was really good. And while dealing with such a long-term roadmap, I also needed to create a tool or create something, having the tools that we had, in our case Jira, to manage our roadmap for different product owners, for different departments, in one place. So I managed to succeed in this task, and we had and still have roadmap created by me that we are using. Now we are migrating to a new tool set, but again, it served us over 3 years. So I think it's a success. I perform a lot of cost benefits analysis and prioritizing product features. So rather than looking on priorities on individual stories based on size and value, I'm looking on overall feature, overall value, how each individual part of this feature come into play, how puzzle gets together, and looking more facts from different sources, you proactively using insights, analytics, quantitative data to perform this prioritization. And again, also listening to various stakeholders from departments, especially like if we are talking about legal or anything related to payments or things like that, where we have heavier regulation. I need to take that into consideration too, and not only cater for the optimizing of revenue. The next activity is around product ideation and validation. I would say I didn't have many opportunities, and I'm not sure that it's possible when you're part of the supply engagement to get a lot of ideas for yourself, like nice, meaty ideas. But again, I'm always listening to our end users. I doing and participating in a lot of research with our research team, and trying to understand what bothers our customers, what they struggle with, not only using data, but also seeing their response and empathizing them. The next activity is around performance monitoring. So again, got the feature or idea, transform it into feature, put it on the roadmap, assessed, and like, here we go, it's finally live. So I also need to monitor how it performs and potentially do some iteration on that, or further enhancement, or maybe change mine and say, you know what, based on our initial research, it was performing well, but when we put it live, it's not that ideal. Where we made some wrong decisions, or did we misinterpret something? But there is one and very, very important activity, even two activities, communication and negotiation, that span across both business analysis and product ownership, which helps to perform all of the things that I already talked through, and this will definitely help you, and especially in this location, if you're an effective communicator and effective negotiator, you can move around, you can get nice and interesting tasks for yourself, and you can achieve a lot, and you can help a lot. And I would like to finish my presentation with another quote. At the end of the day, our job as a business analyst or product owners, product managers, it's not to get the requirements right, it's to change the world. And this is what we are trying to do. So thank you, everyone. And over to you, Gertjan. You're on mute, I think.
That helps. Thanks, Maria. So yeah, my story will be both similar but also slightly different. So I hope that Maria and I will be able to take your questions later on, but feel free to post them if you already in the chat if you have any. Where's my clicker? Here's my clicker. So this is about unique business analysis experiences, and my experience is from the Netherlands. My name is Gertjan van Lochem. I'll not have a formal introduction, but that is because the presentation is kind of an introduction to me, my roles, and I hope to give some takeaways from that. And my journey in EPAM started 23 years ago when I joined a small company called Ideation on the left, and I spent quite a few years there. That changed to Deon, of which I don't have the cup. That changed into Hintech. That in between changed shortly, and now we're part of EPAM. That sounds like a journey, but well, when I was talking about this presentation with Maria, it felt like she was Captain Janeway of Star Trek, and I was somewhere in Deep Space Nine, and boldly staying where no one has stayed before. But I can tell you that being in this location was also a great advantage, and I'll tell you a bit about the steps that I've taken here. So how it started, I started as a developer for a small publishing company, and then moved to Wolters Kluwer, actually a customer of EPAM in the Netherlands. From that, I was recruited to Daedalus, a small IT company especially for publishers in the Netherlands. For the first, about 10 years of my career, I worked a lot for Wolters Kluwer and other publishers in the role of a technical project manager. And technical project manager meant that you were not only project manager, but you also were delivery manager, the main tester, and for all purposes also often the business analyst. Most of the projects that we did were waterfall, but that was a very interesting, nice combination, that I could do for multiple years. The key takeaway perhaps is that this is in EPAM perhaps a bit of a strange career path, but after 10 years of being a project manager and a delivery manager, I felt it was a good time to do something else, and I was drawn more to the contents that we were doing. So slowly my career turned into a BA role. Also, what we saw is that we slowly were losing terrain with Wolters Kluwer, and now I know that was EPAM that we lost terrain to. Having been a BA for quite some time, we just didn't call it that way in the Netherlands. My next step was product owner. I think in 2008 I did my first project as a product owner. There was no Scrum yet, but this was a rational unified process, and basically if I look back, it's that similar role worked a lot for the Ministries of Justice and the Ministry of the Interior as a product owner, and worked around legislation processes, so the processes of applying and creating laws. In the last few years, have retaken that role of product owner, for instance, in the automotive sector, creating roadmaps for off-street parking with Park Mobile. And so for me, a few takeaways for product owner is, first of all, it's a role. I'm happy with the way that EPAM also sees that as a role, which is accessible for multiple people. It's a natural role for BAs, but it is a role. And another takeaway from me from the Netherlands would be that there are different interpretations of product ownership. It is very necessary to validate that the customer has that same idea about product ownership as you would have, which tasks to perform. My PO role with Park Mobile was half PO, half BA. Which is, I think, also again a very natural role to do, but it was really necessary to have that discussion and to recognize that. So a next step for me from the PO role was a more product management type of role. I would think that in 2011, my first product manager role appeared as being a product manager for Book to Fit. It was a combination where we worked together with other organizations in the conception, realization, and go-to-market and implementation support of a custom publishing framework. Very good, very interesting. Not a huge commercial success, unfortunately. And then after that, I took multiple product manager roles. News, which was kind of an info engine, but then in 2012, so it required still a lot of our own build technology. I worked in education, for instance, for Wageningen University to do market research on a tool they have and change the product to the changing market requirements. Last year I had the opportunity to work as a product manager in a product that we created from scratch. That was really, really nice, defining the vision, defining the roadmap, setting the OKRs and the KPIs, really building a backlog from scratch, onboarding a new PM to succeed me, new BAs. That was really very nice to be able to really be in the inception of such a project. And the takeaway that I would like to give from this experience is that there are a few tasks that are really hard to do as a product manager in our global competencies framework. So if you're able to do stuff, to have tasks around market research, real market research, around pricing models, around the setting of OKRs and KPIs, basically a lot of the financials, those are really hard to obtain tasks. And if you're in the position as a BA, as product owner, to take on such roles and the customer will let you, then please do take them, because it's an experience that is really hard to obtain, and it's really valuable to do that. Another takeaway I would say is, well, as you've seen already, this takes time. It takes time to go through all these steps and to grow. So have patience and build your own way through these different roles. My next role after this, or well, I'll mention you that later, was business consultant and SME. As a BA working in the publishing industry, I was able to develop myself, having knowledge of a lot of different, for instance, content management systems. So in 2013, I think I had landed my first role position really as a business consultant, working with the Dutch Standardization Organization and an ISO member on publishing a complete new publishing platform. I was able to work from the inceptions, consulting the VPs, to realization, together with the team managers, operationalization, and commercial launch. Again, a few experiences that are really valuable, and be on alert on that. I was able to take this role with another Dutch publisher, Sanoma, to align international stakeholders. It was, I would say, nearly close to change management. During that time, I got the position as BA team lead with Hintech. You remember the middle cup, and for instance, later on, I was able to land a position as a lead BA and solution architect with Rabobank, selecting a headless CMS for Rabobank publication. Hence this picture. This is not to say that business consultants are business consultant SME are headless. On the contrary, but that was a really nice experience. Again, I had to unify multiple departments and multiple stakeholders on a single tool within the organization, and again that gave me the opportunity to hone in on some of these roles and some of these experiences. Currently, I'm officially a BA at Digital Charging Services. My task is mainly consulting on BA and product management work within that organization. I would say as a takeaway that once you move through these roles and through these careers, the roles become less and less clear. They become more diverse. You have to have different experiences, different qualities, and you should really feel comfortable with that. You deal with a wide range of stakeholders, and you should really be in tune with what they're looking for, and if necessary, put on a different hat, but also know those different roles and know which ones you can take and knows which ones there are, and to be flexible in that way of progressing your career. So now, since 2008, I'm the unit head for the PAs and product managers in the Netherlands. That is a very nice new challenge. We have a thriving community. Well, if I look at this type of picture, I'm always a bit a nostalgic. An office, people together in a room, that's been quite a long time in the Netherlands, but I hope that we can return to that as soon as possible. When I landed this position, one of my goals was also to push the product management and product ownership roles and skill set. And I'm still hoping that we will get to the same level as BAs, because the BA competency in EPAM is so well defined, and for product owners and product management, we're just getting started. I'm very happy that we're there, but we still need your support and your growth to really give that a similar push. I also still do BA in product management work, as you've noticed. I'd like to stick my feet in the mud and to experience what it is to do our roles. My main takeaway from this period of my career would be to share. Once you've acquired such experience, it's so good to share, but it's also still good for me to learn about all these young and bright people that join us in the Netherlands. to share and to hear what they are doing, because everybody does something different, and there is not one single way to do it right. That sharing those experiences will only help us being more complete BAs, POs, and PDMs. By the way, most of the BA positions in the Netherlands, Maria referred to that, are in telco and retail. Well, as you've seen in my career, unfortunately, that's not been me. But we can also see that we have a lot of new and exciting engagements. So if you're interested, you come join us. This is a bit of a graphic visualization of what my career did over time. Now, after the assessment, I'm officially a product manager. But as you can see, I would say this is a T-shaped or a double T-shaped career path, and I think that is that's very important, that you have these different experiences that you can use and share and reuse in new roles. Another takeaway from my side would be it's also my job to make every assignment interesting. I now am officially a BA, but it's my duty to make sure that that role actually uses my talent, and I'm often very fortunate to find customers that will let me, and I think a lot of customers will let you, but it's not always a given. So a few more talking points. One of them are the dichotomies of being a product owner or other type of role. As I've mentioned, I've been a consultant. One of the dichotomies we had there was being a consultant, and then I having to choose either to do the consultancy or do the implementation. It sounds like a battle, like something that you have to choose. And sometimes I see the same thing happening for product ownerships versus teams. We're all in the same delivery organization, so we're best friends, and that's also our force. That our BAs and product owners really know the development teams and really know what they need. But sometimes in a PO role or a PDM role, you still have to say no. It's also your job to keep the team sharp. So being able to balance that, also saying no to stakeholders, but in the same way keeping them happy. Those are, I would say, interesting dichotomies that you have to feel comfortable with. And so it's not always a battle, but it's also being nice to each other and getting the best results from that. A few more talking points on being on site. Having been on site basically 100% of the time, customer facing, that has always been good. Now, of course, stuff is different, but being on site, you have the opportunity to build rapport with the customer, have a lot of informal communication, and that's good. But here again, there are also downsides. You're under constant scrutiny of what you're doing. We have a very hard time posting juniors in our organization because, well, the customer doesn't want to pay for juniors. So that gives us, a bit of a strange seniority pyramid in our location. Another point about being on site is you have the advantage of being able to eat your own dog food. I am a customer of our largest telco provider. I'm a customer of the large retail provider that we have. I am a customer of the parking service that we have. This was my car, so I charge and use the apps that I built, and that is a big advantage, that you can actually experience what you're creating, especially in a digital world. That's not always that easy to do. one or two other talking points about the Netherlands as a location. So the Netherlands has a very flat organizational culture. Everybody talks to everybody, and everybody's equal. That is also important to know and to be able to cope with. There is little hierarchy in typical Dutch organizations, so that also gives rise to something we call the polder model. We discuss and we discuss and we discuss until we agree, until we reach some compromise, and a good compromise always leaves everybody slightly dissatisfied. But that is a typical way that work is done within the Netherlands, and it does often help because the support for the end result will be wide, because you participated in until you gave in, and so you have to support the outcome. It was a long talk about my BA experience in the Netherlands, and I think this would be a good time to switch over back to the discussion, and I think Maria and I will be very ready to take your questions. If you have any, please post them in the chat, or you're welcome to unmute yourself. I heard a voice.
It was me.
Ah.
Yeah, we still have people in the chat. Maybe they just need a bit of time. Oh, Irina joined us.
Yes, we actually have 12 people here with us, but everyone seems to be shy to ask questions. So guys, feel free to jump into the live conversation with our great speakers today and ask your questions aloud, or just drop them in the chat. The question might be done a little bit earlier. You never know. So guys, I have a tricky question to you. From your point of view, and hopefully you had the chance to listen to each other, is there really any difference in approaches and roles which are needed these days in Netherlands and in UK? Because you both talked about the product owners, you both talked about the product managers and these. So do you see that there's any differences and uniqueness between these two countries?
Maria, do you want to take it?
I guess ladies goes first, right?
Yeah, okay, I will take it first. I think in the UK, there is a trend to go into transformation, and it also have a bit of a hype. Hence, I would say currently there is a bit more demand into product owners. Product managers, again, depends from organization to organization, because they call product owners, product managers, product owners, product analysts. So it's all over the place. There is not that much structure. And I think in Netherlands, it might be a bit more structured, because again, like Scrum and Agile school in Nordics is a bit better than in the United Kingdom, more structured at least. So I would say definitely in the UK, there's more demand for product owners. And again, from my experience, as soon as you show skills and traits of leadership, being more product conscious and showing that you're interested in the product, the clients are craving for that, and they are ready to give you more. So for example, in both cases, like 2.5 months or over 5 years engagements, both cases when I will manage to show that, okay, I have this product ownership background, I have intention to go towards product rather than just doing business analysis. And I'm not saying just business analysis that it's smaller than product ownership. I'm just talking about that from the skill set and from the demand. Straight away, I was the first person who was taken into more product owner role in both cases, like short-term, long-term. And on this long-term account with one of the mobile providers, I was the first PO, and I'm still, now I think I might be not the only PO, but I was for quite some time only one PO who left within the engagement, because everyone else was internalized, but they still need this mix of business analysis and strong product ownership, and they are letting you go and they're giving you opportunities to deal with that.
So yeah, what can I add to that? I think that in the Netherlands there is one specific thing about product ownership, is that sometimes it's also seen as an entry-level role. So you can be a product owner on 1-2 year experience, where we in EPAM usually don't see that. We see it really as a very senior role, and so like I said, I think it's very important to really talk to the customer about what they expect from that role, because quite a few of the BAs in the Netherlands do things that we would label as product ownership, but the customer doesn't, because, well, they have a product manager and they're the only one that can take all the decisions, and that the BA actually does that is seen but not really recognized. Again, I think there needs to be a good conversation about what you mean, what the role means, and that same holds true for business analysts. I've been in an organization where the business analyst is the business analyst, so they work on the money most of the time, and not on the requirements. So again, probably in every location, have a good conversation about what you expect, but also be prepared to take on this challenge. Like Maria said, prepare to take on the extra task should the opportunity present itself, because that will allow you to show what you have, and grow from there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would also like to add.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I would also would like to add to Gert-Jan a bit that in the UK, it's more aligned with what we have in EPAM, that they perceive product owners as like extension, like higher level than business analysts. So because a lot of the within the organization, a lot of guys who were business analysts or solution designers, they needed to get into like senior position, and only after that they were allowed to move into product ownership. However, guys from sales side, they were able to move almost like line by like grade by grade. So there's also a bit of a difference.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Gert-Jan, for their very comprehensive answers on this question. So let's give it a chance to our dear audience to ask more questions. So guys, as a quick reminder, feel free to drop your questions in the chat, or just unmute yourself and we'll let you into the conversation. Okay, so it sounds like no questions, so probably we can be done early here, and in case we've done the recording of the session, is going to be published after. Let me thank you, Maria, for the great presentation and sharing your experience, and Gert-Jan, great job, not only talking about yourself, but also the great team or VAs who you've already got. Yeah, I had the same feeling as you shared, looking at this picture of bigger sessions, bigger meetings in one room. I think we all missed that a lot.
Can't wait to get back to the office and share, because I think that's really something that makes our job interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so with that, I think we're going to be done with this session for today. Thank you so much, our dear presenters, our speakers, for sharing your perspective. And thank you to everyone who joined us today. Have a great remaining of the conference, and we'll see you tomorrow at BA Boost.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day and nice conference. Good luck, everyone.
Bye.